Perfect. How was your day today?
It was good. It was my first day back. I took essentially all of last week off, so it was my first day back. But it was good. It was just very busy.
Oh, well, that's good. You had a nice Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I did. I went back to Pittsburgh. So we left. I worked Monday, Tuesday of last week, and then we left Tuesday night and got back at like 10. We got to Pittsburgh at like 10:30-ish. And then I came back yesterday. So, yeah, it was good. How about you guys? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, I drove to Arkansas. I'm from there, so my extended family still lives there. Sam, my husband, and I loaded up our traveling circus. And
I was gonna say, you have 2 dogs now, and one is rather large.
And he's not neutered yet. Tomorrow he will be. But we couldn't board him or anything for that, so we're like, well, we've had you 4 days, buddy. It looks like you're coming with us. So that was good. It was really fun though.
Rotate the chicken and stir up the veggies. Okay. When you're the cook in the family.
Yes. That's literally what we've been talking about.
She's like, what do I do?
Yeah. I also prepped here and left it in the fridge. I was like, preheat.
Put it in the oven, 375. You got this.
Yep.
So I just I sent her a recipe. I was like, can you meal prep this a little bit before I get home? And then I got in. She's like, okay, you can take over now. I was like, no, I got stuff to do.
You live with your sister, right?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. The 2 of us. So yeah, that was my younger sister. Fun.
Okay, so tell us a little bit. I mean, we know about you, but tell us this a little bit more now that we have this more 2-on-1 time. Kind of your career history and kind of when you got the bug to get into blogging and kind of your goals and stuff like that. If you can give us a 2 to 3 minute spiel.
Sure. So I'll go back. I've dabbled with the idea of starting a blog for a number of years. I would say I really jumped on board with it about 2.5 years ago when I moved to Philly. I just needed I needed a creative outlet. I needed something to do. When I lived in Pittsburgh, I worked full time and actually had a makeup business. And so the makeup business is where I would spend my evenings and that kind of stuff. And I brought it to Philly, but didn't really do anything with it when I first moved here and just realized I hated just coming home and sitting on the couch and watching TV. I needed something to do with my time. So that's when I started going to networking events, just to try to meet new people and do different things. I actually had planned on initially starting a travel blog. About a year ago, I took a 3-week trip to Southeast Asia. And that was my first, out of the country trip. I was like, I'm going to do this. I still have all my notes written in my phone, documenting all of our experiences. And I've never written about it. So fast forward. So I've thought about it. I guess it was summer 2 years ago. I met with a photographer and tried to do photos, but I didn't totally like her. I didn't like the photos that I got. She was not a lifestyle photographer, which she was open about up front. And she was like, I get requests for that, so I'd like to test it out with you. And I was like, oh, okay, she's more into portrait kind of stuff, nature photos. So I felt like I didn't have the content to share. And then fast forward to this fall, I came across a girl that I followed on Instagram for quite some time, and randomly clicked to see if she had a blog. I always look at her stories. She has really, really great fashion taste. And I noticed that her blog was very basic for someone who's got tons of followers on Instagram, is always doing stuff on Instagram. Her blog was very basic. She didn't post every week or every day. I mean, she would go months at a time without posting. And that was one of the things I always struggled with, was if it wasn't perfect and if I didn't post every week, I wasn't doing the right thing. So when I saw that, I kind of was like, you know what, I can get started with this. If I can get 1 post out a month, which is definitely manageable for me, I will get that done. I can do that. So I figured I would start there. And that's really what kind of gave me the encouragement to really just hop on. I had one weekend where I didn't have anything planned, and I just hopped on WordPress and got it started.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I stand. I do still work full time I don't know if you know this, Anna Laura. I work corporately for Jefferson Health here in Philly. I work on the non-clinical side. I work for doing like curriculum development for the medical students. So I have that gig. I don't know that I necessarily see me doing that 100% full time in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I enjoy it. If I ever moved, I would probably use that to get a new job in a new city, but I don't know that I necessarily see long term that for the rest of my life. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Do you have any visions for the future, like kind of what that looks like? Kind of maybe like your wildest unicorn dreams, like what you would do?
Wildest unicorn dreams. Honestly, I would probably, this sounds terrible, but I would be like a stay-at-home mom with a blog.
That's not terrible at all.
I don't know that, like, once I have kids, I don't know that I want to, I don't want to have to work full time. I want to work when I choose to work, and I want to be there for my kids type of thing while I'm raising them.
Mm-hmm. No, that's completely respectable. Absolutely.
Like, people hear that and they're like, really? Yes,
Girl,
that's
no.
really what I want to do. But I want to, so the flip side of that is I think when I think about that unicorn goal, I want to be able to build my brand now so that it can support me in the future. I can't wait till the future comes and expect that it's going to support me then. Like, I've got to get it done now while I have, you know, time and different things. Because sure enough, once you have kids, you don't really have time for stuff. So that's kind of that story.
That is so cool. So right now, I know we've all been chatting a little bit in the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been going through your mission statement, your avatar. How are you feeling right now about it all?
I feel behind, like a little bit lost. I understand when we have the meetings and I read through stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this. And then I sit down and I start writing through the workbook and I'm like, and like I try to, like, if something pops out when in the little like 15-minute clips or whatever, I'll just pause it and like jot a note to myself to come back to either like what time it was whether it was a trigger word or a statement or just something you guys said. I'll like either write down the time of it so I can flash back to it, or I will sorry. I heard her come running up the stairs, but I don't think she came all the way up. So like there will be trigger things that make me think of stuff. So I'll try to write down like what I'm thinking about, like I'll pause the video and write down what I'm thinking about at the time, just so I don't forget. I forget my train of thought very easily. So if I don't write it down, like write down ideas, I have a notes page in my phone that like if I'm on the bus and something in a podcast pops out to me, I will like pause the podcast and take a note on it. So I remember to go back and like look at that.
I mean, that's literally, you see us right now. We have like.
Yeah, that's even the one call that we were on. I was like, I had to pause it and like run down and find my workbook because I was like, I need to take notes on this. This is important stuff.
Again, that's why we record stuff too.
I worked through. I was getting frustrated with the mission statement because I felt like I was lost in shambles. So I kind of moved on to, I did the avatar in hopes that by thinking about my audience, it would trigger more stuff for my mission statement. So I've worked a little bit through the avatar, and I did the, I should like maybe put these with like file folders or organizers, but I just have them in a massive pile. What's the third one? Okay, that's ideal. Is that audience the second or the third one?
Second.
Okay, so is that where we built the avatar?
Yes.
Okay, so I've done that one. And then I moved on to the third one, just like watching the video and kind of reading through the workbook about, creating your visual brand and doing the brand board.
Yeah.
Just to think of like, okay, maybe if I think of colors and schemes like that, maybe again, it'll trigger more stuff for my mission statement. But I think where I struggle with my mission statement is I don't currently feel like I'm impacting a community of people, but I want to impact a community of people. And sometimes, and I can't remember, Alex, if you and I talked about it the one time we got together, when I struggle with, do I want it to just be women? Do I want it to be single women? Because I wouldn't say struggling with singleness, but that's the current season of my life I'm in. I'm a single 31-year-old who lives in the city. Like, I want to capitalize on that market.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, every time I write out single women and I say it, I feel like I'm too specific. And I'm like, there's other parts of my life that could appeal to somebody who is married or newly in a relationship, and just like time management, that kind of stuff. Like, those aspects of my life that I want to showcase to people could apply to anybody. They don't have to apply to single women. So when I write out single women in my mission statement, I cross it out and I write just women. And then I'm like, people, because I think, when it comes to like my food stuff, anybody would like that. It doesn't have to be a woman who cooks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I say I'm all over the place, that's where my brain is at the moment.
I think right now you have a little case of squirrel brain.
Very much so. When I wrote that Facebook post, that is like, these are all the things that are going through my brain.
Yeah. I think too, like, you're just overthinking a little bit. Like, you're putting undue stress on yourself about this. Like, when you were just talking and you were talking about how, you're a single 30-something-year-old living in the city, like, it literally could be as simple as the musings of a single 30-something-year-old woman living in Philadelphia. Now, if I scroll by that on Instagram, even though I'm not single, I once was single and I am 30-something. So I would love to see what you have to say, so even if in your mission statement or tagline, you are being specific, it may not deter like all these other people that you still want to reach. But in terms of when you're building content and the things that you are going to post about, because they're things that you know about and they're relevant to your life, you should stick with the things that are kind of insular to you and things that and let the people decide what they want. You're trying to figure it out for everyone when you should just be figuring it out for you.
Okay.
So what lights you up in terms of like posts? Like, what gets you super excited to take pictures about? Or like, who do you get really excited to help? Like, what do your girlfriends come to you for? What does your sister come to you for? Like, those are all things that are just going to help you kind of create your content. Not even create, but document. You talk about being a stay-at-home mom with a blog. Like, if and when you get there, you would be documenting. You're not creating, you're documenting your life. So you can take that same thought and do that now. Document your life. Who is Genna? What does she do every day? What do her friends come to her for? And that's things that you can share online. And by doing that, you're making an impact. Like, of course, now we're not making an impact because we're not doing anything, and then I think you're thinking about it. If that makes sense. What were you gonna say?
It does. I feel like I'm stuck in my brain and I'm not doing anything with it.
Well, the fact of the matter, like something you said earlier about you not having a community that you're serving, like whether you have 4 followers or 400,000, like you have a community. Like size really doesn't matter. It's just how well you're serving and showing up, like for the people that are there. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're not showing up or you're not serving them well, like right now, you're not going to be any better at it. Like, down the road when you're at 4 million.
Right.
So just showing up now, like as you are, like Alex was saying, like I love those points because I can think of literally so many people, like as a married woman with 2 dogs, like I love following. There's one single girl that comes to she's in like Canada, or like I in all like reality, I probably maybe because she's like 25 and like I don't know why I follow her, but she has awesome like healthy lifestyle. I love her fashion. She's really creative. So there are parts of her that still resonate with me, like maybe my inner 25-year-old like wants to see and hear more of. But like just because she's single or talks about her relationship or her breakup or whatever, I'm like, oh well, like I've totally been there. Like I can deeply relate to that. But I'm happily married now, right? So yeah, don't let that hold you back, but just really focus on like owning that you do have a community even right now. Like even if it's not necessarily where you want it to be, some of those people might come and go, but that's okay. Like you want that as you hone in on who you're talking to.
Okay.
And just by posting, you make an impact. Like when you're holding things in and you're thinking about it, it's not doing anyone any good. So I mean, like, even if one person reads it, that's making an impact. You know, even if one person comments you, one person emails you, like, that's still an impact. And obviously it takes time to grow, but start with, you know, the followers you have now and the community you have now, and, you know, start just doing it rather than thinking about it, because you have so many amazing ideas. It's just a matter of doing it.
Got it.
Does this help you or overwhelm you?
It sort of helps me. I mean, and Alex and I, ironically enough, had a very similar conversation when we had gone together. Oh gosh, I don't know, like a month or so ago. Before I signed up for the course, and it was that's when she gave me the whole. My mentality at that point was I don't have the content to creating content is what stressed me out. Whereas now I definitely feel myself more in that just kind of posting about my life. So I've gotten better at that. I will say Black Friday totally threw me for a reel. I was squirrel brain. I reached out to a bunch of different places. I was in Pittsburgh and tried to do the whole like massive Black Friday shopping. And I just like totally overwhelmed myself between like trying to be what I thought people would want me to be and just doing my own thing. And I think I need to really take a step back and just, like what you guys said, like think about things that light me up. And there's so many different things, but think about those and kind of hone in. And I don't know if I want to like target it to where like one day a week I do, I don't want to say like scheduled posts, but like on Monday, maybe it's like positive motivation stuff. Whereas Tuesday's like makeup looks, cause that's something that I like to do. Or if I just kind of want to go with it on a flowy kind of how I feel schedule.
Whatever is not going to stress you out, you know, like if you just think, so if you do a Monday, Tuesday, like Wednesday thing, you know, you do want to stick with that. So people, if you're trying to create like brand recognition, you know, but as you were saying before, you know, you felt kind of squirrel brain on Saturday and Black Friday and all this stuff. Literally, you could have taken a picture of yourself in like the parking lot of Nordstrom's or wherever, like holding your bag saying, hey guys, like I'm going crazy with Black Friday shopping, you know? So I don't like try not to put so much stress about creating when you can just document whatever's going on in your life. Like even recently for my own personal account, I've started just sharing more of my daily speech therapy life. And it's been such a breath of fresh air because I've felt like I don't have to create, take the perfect picture, do this, pose here, do this. It's like, no, I'm in the middle of the street making a phone call to a patient, like I'll just take a picture, or I'm in my car, you know? So it takes the pressure off of you when you talk about things that are already going on, you know? And as you get comfortable doing that, then if you want to start like creating content around specific things and scheduling posts and having a Christmas themed photo shoot and a January of new, you know, like those things come, but you just gotta start somewhere. And that somewhere is your everyday life.
Documenting versus creating. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the best advice you guys have both given me.
Yeah. I love that. Well said.
What other questions do you have for us?
So I threw out in my squirrel brain moment on Facebook my ideas about my like mission statement. Well, one, is it okay to keep moving on even though I'm still trying to like nail that down? Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of panicked when I didn't have stuff, and I really put all this stuff aside for like the entire month of November. And then I panicked last week. It was like, I have not done anything with this course. Like my goal was to like 30 minutes a day, or, you know, 30 minutes twice a week to the course, because I figured I could work through the different modules. And then November came and went really fast. And all of a sudden last week I was like, I had Wednesday off work. So I was just sitting at my parents' house, and I brought all my workbook stuff with me. And I was like, I was getting frustrated with it. And that's when I was like, let me just move on and then come back and see if things will trigger it. Is it okay to do that, even though I don't necessarily have this like solid mission statement yet?
I mean, I don't know where you stand on this, Alex. Like, that's a really awesome question. I would say everyone's brain works differently. There's no wrong way to do this. This is like, we laid it out like this, kind of like as the foundation, like, you know, so that moving forward, you kind of have something to focus on, like, okay, well, does this brand's like colors serve this audience well? Like that kind of thing. But if you don't have that, and you, like, as you're going through, like, you have a clear idea for a visual brand, and you are like, well, I don't know, like I said, I think everyone's brain works in a very different way. So if that's like helping you, then I would recommend probably continuing with that. And none of this is here to stress you out or frustrate you or make you feel like any negative way. It's really here to help you. So yeah, that's, I guess, my 2 cents. Alex, like I said,
yeah, I was gonna say whatever you feel is going to help you. Like, I've done it both ways. Like, before Anna Laura and I did She Shines, I did it the reverse. When I was doing She, I had created all my brand colors, you know, all those other things. I took all my photos, Anna Laura took them for me, and then I built the website, and then worried about kind of like, I had a vague idea of what I wanted to do, but like I didn't have a mission statement or anything like that. You know, so it worked. I can't say how it would have worked in the long run, because it didn't last very long until we started She Shines. I know the way we have done it, we kind of mixed. Like, we knew we wanted pink and gold and stuff as we were starting, and we then developed a mission statement after our first event. But we knew who we wanted to serve, and then our mission statement has changed like 3 times since January, when we had our first event.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So it's something that is constantly changing.
Totally, like, just to bounce off of that, it hasn't totally, like, you know, the first one hasn't gone out the window. It's just like been fine.
It's like evolved.
Yeah. It's literally just like tweaking little words here and there. Like, yeah, I'm sure we can pull up, like, we have this.
I was just going to look for it to copy and paste it for you.
So yeah, it's like, and that's what we're saying, like, as long as you have some starting foundation, and then as you start developing content, as you start documenting your life, you kind of see what people are responding to, and then you can kind of hone in on that a little more. Like, well, maybe people aren't responding to the food stuff as much, but they love the fashion and the makeup. Okay, well, shift, evolve. Like, that's what we mean. Like, it's a living thing that you're doing right now, because it's your life.
Yeah.
Like, so just because you're single now, when you're a stay-at-home mom with kids, like, probably not going to be.
I was going to say, it's definitely probably going to be different there. Yeah.
It's totally fine. Like, a great example that comes to mind is Hello Fashion Blog. Like, you've seen her entire evolution from, oh, cool. Alex just posted in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it just popped up.
From, like, I'm pretty sure, like, her getting married to, like, taking on her husband's, like, kids, so becoming a stepmom, to, like, them now building a house together, them now having babies together, and, like, you know, it's just continued to evolve. When she started out as a single fashion blogger, and so just don't be afraid to pick something and go with it and see where it takes you.
Yeah, I would say, if anything, like, just like pick a demographic, like single women.
Okay.
Run with one of those mission statements or taglines, you know.
Okay.
And I personally think it'll just give you a little bit more clarity as you're picking colors and things like that, and fonts.
Deciding what to post even.
Yeah, because you'll just kind of have a better idea, like, you know, what your audience is going to like. But like I said, don't let it stress you out. You can always change any and everything.
Yeah.
You know, nothing is in stone.
I think when I read through the mission statements that are, like, in the workbook, it's not that they necessarily stress me out, but they definitely overwhelm me. And that they're like 3 and 4 sentences. Like, is it okay if it's just a sentence? Like what you had said earlier, Alex, like the adventures of a 31-year-old single gal living in the city.
Yeah.
Or does it need to be like, I think of Athletas. So I tried to, like, pull bits and pieces from Athletas and pull bits and pieces. I was like, I'm just collectively pulling from everybody else's. I'm not creating my own.
Yeah, it should be just yours, you know, and it doesn't, look at who Athleta is serving and what they're doing, right? Versus where you are right now, you know?
Top of the line people instead of just like I need to find someone who's me.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great, but you can totally make it a sentence. And it
Okay.
will grow, you know, and like I said, if you really are only focusing on a blog, it may not have all these other components. Like we have events, an academy, we have a lot of stuff going on. So it's gonna be a little bit longer, you know, so
Got it.
literally our first one before we had the event in January, it was Connection Community Girl Talk with a glass of champagne in hand. Like that was pretty much our mission statement, but it's now our tagline.
No,
So
I
yeah,
just
it
put yours in
definitely
there.
evolved.
Now, if you go with the short sentence, that's beautiful. That can even serve as, you know, you can pull a tagline from that. You can, I think just knowing, you know, having something to go off of as you start posting and making blogs and all this stuff, it's just going to give you some clarity in terms of like what you want to post and what works with your brand versus maybe you need to tweak to fit your brand.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so a single line mission statement, definitely acceptable.
What?
You're not gonna fail out of the academy or out of blog.
I mean, I figured it that much. I'm trying to figure out what. Give me one second. My poor computer's tried to restart about 100 times. Let's see if I can pull up. So this is what I put on my blog as like my tagline. Let me see if I can easily pull it up. What did I see? So beauty and fashion, fitness and food, empowerment and inspiration, all with a glass of wine and a smile. But I don't know that that's necessarily a tagline or a mission statement.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. Because I could see how just talking to you and the conversation, like putting all those things in your bio, do you feel the need to talk about every single one of those things?
Yes.
Right.
But I also do talk about all of those things, maybe minus I've gotten a little bit more into fashion, but
and that's not to say you can't like post about fashion. Like like mine, it's like entrepreneurship, creativity, I don't even know, girl power and dog mom. Like, but I post about fashion a lot because it's something I really enjoy. Like, there's nothing to say like fashion can't also be empowerment. You know, like just how you empower yourself is through beauty and fashion. So if you like even wanted to take those out, you know, you can like look deeper, I guess, into the meanings of like what these things mean to you, like empowerment and inspiration. Like, what does that look like to Genna? And how does she live that in like, or Kennedy Ann, like, how does she live that in her life? Like, what is like inspirational to her, et cetera, et cetera.
So, I mean, and this is just pulling off of the kind of made up one we have today, like the musings of a 30-something, you know, single gal living in the city. Like your tagline could be city living, enjoying a glass of wine a day. You know, like it doesn't, that city living can incorporate fashion, food. You know, it can incorporate you going to events. It can incorporate how you're inspiring or empowering other women through XYZ, you know, so.
And community, which is something that, you know, you said on the call is important to you to really connect with a community and like foster that. But yeah. So like you can know yourself that these are the things that you post about, you know, the beauty and fashion, fitness and food, empowerment, inspiration. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a tagline.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
Cool.
As long as you know,
yes,
you know what Genna stands for, what she wants to talk about, you know, I think you're on the right path. I would also suggest, bonus, that you go ahead and post that travel blog and say, hey guys, I went on this really awesome trip. Is anyone going to Southeast Asia? check out my most recent blog post because you have all that information. You might as well.
I do. I really could also use the storage space on my phone and delete the multiple notes I have from that trip.
Yes. Just condense it all on your blog.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get it typed up.
I was going to say, Thursday is in a couple of days. You could do like a Throwback Thursday thing.
I could. Yeah, that would totally work.
That way gives you a couple of days to work on the blog post, and then people head over there.
Get it posted.
Yeah.
Can definitely get that out.
Something just came into my brain and I'm just typing it in for a tagline.
Yeah.
I was say I have the other thing I wrote out, and this was, I would equate this more to like a mission statement. And I don't know where I am on my page that I find these. I need to like click into the post. It was helping. So back in October, before I started this class, of course I need to tweak this now. It says helping everyone. It's narrowed down. So helping everyone find the beauty in themselves. Beauty is not just about hair and makeup. It's about taking care of yourself mentally and physically. Beauty is loving the season of life you are in, learning from the challenges in front of you, and looking ahead with a vision and passion.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something else I put together. But again, it's like, well, obviously everyone is with a broad.
But you can take components of that. What was the second part of that?
Beauty's not just about hair and makeup. It's about taking care of yourself mentally and physically.
And then right after that.
Beauty is loving the season of life you are in, learning from challenges in front of you, and looking ahead with a vision and passion.
Yeah, I feel like music exhibit, like city living 30-something, loving the season she's in, or, some like.
Yeah, this is what I just put in.
Here for the wine, not the wine.
But like I said, just things that were popping into my head as you were speaking. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super helpful.
Or not take it, but
I'm trying to figure out how to. Here we go.
Ooh, like
I saved the chat. So.
Yeah, I hope this has given you like some direction, but also some room to play around with.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was stressing out trying to make it too much like Athleta or something like that. That's like these big corporations, and I'm not a big corporation, so I think that's where I was struggling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of just being something simple, maybe it's for now, it's just a 1-sentence line. I think I thought it had to be like 3 or 4 sentences. I was like writing a paragraph.
That's a great point. Like
that's really helpful.
Good. No, I'm so glad to hear that. But yeah, if you have any anything along the way, like roadblocks, or you're feeling like confused or stuck, like definitely reach out to us. This is what we're here for, is to help streamline the process, not add more confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Very helpful.
Good
deal. I will get that travel blog posted.
Yeah. Definitely share it with us. We'll reshare. Will we see you on the call in
Yes, I'm gonna have my sister actually literally was like, "Are you done soon?" I was like, "No, without me."
Amazing. Well, we will see you then, and enjoy dinner.
Great, thank you. I would say, wait, doesn't it start at 7?
Yes.
Okay.
8 Eastern.
Oh, 8. Okay, so I have a whole hour. Okay. I was thinking I was rolling right into it. Okay, cool. I'll be back.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.